Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Dr. Amreen. I'm an instructor of the course Pharmacology and Therapeutics 2. I welcome you all on the platform of University of South Asia. Today I'm going to teach you about cephalosporins. Before going to start the cephalosporins, we will discuss about the learning objectives and the key features of the previous lecture. Previously, before midterm, we have studied about tetracycline. That was our last lecture that we have studied. I am going to revise the tetracyclines, then I will move towards today's lecture. Tetracyclines were the drugs that were bacteriostatic in nature. The term bacteriostatic means the drugs that kills the bacteria are said, that suppress the growth of bacteria are said to be bacteriostatic, and bactericidal are those that kills the bacteria. While the tetracyclines are bacteriostatic in nature, that just suppress the growth of the bacteria. The other very important feature of tetracycline is it is a broad spectrum antibiotic, meaning it is effective against gram-positive as well as gram-negative bacteria and against the organisms other than these bacteria. So it has broad spectrum, it is bacteriostatic in nature, and further we said the mechanism of action of the tetracyclines. Tetracycline inhibit the protein synthesis. How it inhibited the protein synthesis? By binding the reversibly to 30S ribosomal unit. It binds to 30S ribosomal unit and inhibits the protein synthesis of the bacteria. In this way, it acts as a bacteriostatic in nature. The very other important thing about tetracycline is that it's a reverse effect. Its brown discoloration and pigmentation of teeth is very important adverse effect of tetracyclines. And it also affects the growth of the skeleton, and that usually it should not be given up to the 8 years of the age. Tetracyclines are also teratogenic. Teratogenic means the drug that affects the fetal growth if given to a pregnant woman. So these were the important feature of tetracycline, that it is bacteriostatic. It is a broad spectrum antibiotic, meaning it is effective against gram-negative and gram-positive and other bacteria. It inhibits the protein synthesis by binding to 30S ribosomal unit. Tetracycline has prominent adverse effect that it causes the brown discoloration and pigmentation of teeth because it forms complexes with calcium, and it also affects the growth of the skeleton. It is teratogenic. Coming towards today's lecture, that is on the cephalosporins. Cephalosporins are widely being used as antibiotics in the chemotherapy. Why cephalosporins are widely being used? It is basically a beta-lactam antibiotic like penicillins, but it has a wide antibacterial spectrum, that it has different generation, first, second, third, fourth generation, that is commonly being used. And the difference between first, second, third, and fourth generation is between their antibacterial spectrum. They have very good antibacterial and broad spectrum. Gradually, their bacterial spectrum is going to increase. So they are widely being used in almost various kinds of infections. So I said cephalosporins are beta-lactam antibiotics like penicillin, but the difference in their structure is cephalosporins contain a very different nucleus in their structure, that is 7-amino-cephalospronic acid nucleus. This is a special nucleus due to which they are slightly different in chemistry from the penicillins. And further, I said there are 4 generations of cephalosporins, but recently one more generation has been added. So right now, and nowadays, there are 5 generations of cephalosporin. Previously, book has mentioned about the 4 generation, but 5th generation has also been added in the classification of cephalosporin. Coming to us, the mechanism of action of these cephalosporins. Cephalosporins have the mechanism similar to penicillin. If we have studied about penicillins, that the penicillins bind to a penicillin binding protein on the bacterial cell membrane. So same way, cephalosporins bind to the penicillin binding protein on the bacterial cell membrane and inhibit the cell wall synthesis by inhibiting the enzyme transpeptidase. And transpeptidase is an enzyme that is responsible for cross-linking of the peptidoglycan chain. So it means cephalosporins inhibits the peptidoglycan cross-linking, so it inhibits the bacterial cell wall. In this way, the bacteria tends to lyse, and cephalosporins are considered as bactericidal in nature. Bactericidal means that kills the bacteria. So cephalosporins like penicillin are bactericidal in nature. Coming towards the resistance, structural difference between cephalosporins and penicillins make them resistant to penicillin. They are similar in mechanism of action, but obviously there is a difference in their structure. So cephalosporins are slightly more stronger than penicillin, that they may even tolerate the enzyme penicillinase that is released by the staphylococcus. We earlier studied in penicillin कि कुछ स्टेफ्लोकोकाइज होते हैं, वो बैक्टीरिया कुछ एंजाइम्स रिलीज करते हैं और इस तरह वो पेनिसिलिन रिंग को इनहिबिट कर देते हैं, उसको ओपन कर देते हैं. राइट नाउ वी आर सेइंग cephalosporins are more resistant, they are more strong, and in this way they are not being opened by these staphylococci released penicillinases. So they can tolerate these enzymes and they can like are more stronger as compared to penicillin. But many bacteria are still resistant to penicillin, though the production of other beta-lactamases can inactivate. There are certain enzymes that can even open the cephalosporin ring, but they are comparatively more stronger as compared to penicillins. The resistance can be a result of from the decrease in the membrane permeability to cephalosporin. Similarly, the resistance, the mechanism of action is similar to that of penicillin. We said in penicillin that the bacteria wants, the drug wants to enter into the bacteria, but the bacteria alters the membrane permeability. That changes the membrane permeability, due to which the drug can't enter or cross the membrane. In the same way, cephalosporins want to enter into the bacteria, but certain bacteria show resistance by decreasing the membrane permeability. They does not allow this drug to enter into the wall. Sometimes they changes their penicillin binding protein. They does not allow this drug to attach to it. They alters the penicillin binding protein site, due to which this drug can't bind to that site. So in this way, some strains of bacteria may change their permeability, may change their penicillin binding protein. So they show resistance to the cephalosporins. Coming towards the generations, I said there are five generations of the cephalosporins: first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and fifth generation. And these every generation is further divided almost into two categories on the route of administration, like oral route and parenteral route. So cephalosporins are usually taken through oral and parenteral. So coming towards the first generation drug, it has subtypes like oral first generation and parenteral first generation drugs. So the names of the oral first generation are cephalexin. I have divided or made the subtypes in order to make you easy for you. Cephalexin, there is a in between them. Then is cephadroxil. Then parenteral is cephalothane and cephazolin. Zoline, Lothane, Lexine, and Droxil. So we are again going to revise the names. First generation oral drugs are cephalexin, cephadroxil, parenteral cephalothane, and cephazolin. Coming towards the second generation drugs, let me tell you the names of the drugs that are in the second generation, that is oral route and parenteral route. So that comes under the oral route is cefaclor. The next is cefuroxime azidyl. And parenteral is cefamendol, cefuroxime, cefotitan, cefoxitan, and cefometazole. I know they are looking similar, but we have to keep in mind they are slightly different from each other. If I move towards the previous classification, first generation, all of the members of the first generation have A in their name. You can see cephalexin, cephadroxil, cephalothane, and cephazolin. So all those drugs which have A in their name are first generation drugs, except the two like cefaclor and cefamendol. They are from second generation, but they also have A. This is an exception. You may keep in mind those that have A in their name are first generation, except this cefaclor and cefamendol. Fine. Cefaclor and cefamendol, all others that have A in between their name are almost first generation drugs. Coming towards the third generation, it has cefixime orally and ceftibuten. And when we move towards the parenteral third generation drugs, ceftriaxone, cefoperazone, cefotaxime, ceftizozime, cefatizidine, and moxilactam. You can see there are three varieties in their name. Like one of the name contains me, 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 me. They are all from third generation that have me in their end. They also have one in their end. They also have 10 in their end. So all those drugs that almost have me at the end, one at their end, 10 at their end, all belongs to third generation, except the one that is from the previous classifications, furoxime, that also contains me. Second generation are different. Like first generation all has a, second generation has a and me like third generation, while the third generation has one, me, and 10 at their end. This is just to make you easy to keep in your mind how to keep these names in your mind. Cefixime, ceftibutane, ceftizone, cefoperazone, cefotaxime, ceftizozime, cefarzidime, and moxalectin. Coming towards the fourth generation, it only has a one type that is on the basis of parental route of drug administration. They contains only two drugs like cefepime and cefeprione. They have PI in their name, cefi, PIME, and cefpirone, PIRONE. So they have PI in their name. Those that have PI in their name belongs to fourth generation. Then we have fifth generation that is also depending upon the parental route of drug administration, and we can only give them intravenously or intramuscular, not by orally route. Their name is ceftaroline and ceftobiprole. They have ROL in their name, ceftaroline, ceftobiprole, ceftaroline and ceftobiprole. I said we have five classification. Number first was cephalexin, cephadroxil, cephalothene, and cefazolin. Coming towards the second generation drug, we said we have cefaclose, furoxime axetil, cefamindole, cefuroxime, cefotitan, cefoxitan, cefometazolone. Their name are all starting from C, so it's difficult to they are looking like similar. The next is cefixime, cefabutane, ceftriaxone, cefoperazone, ceftotizine, ceftozosine, ceftozidime, and moxalectin. Fourth generation is very easy, cefepime and cefiprione. Fifth generation is also easy, ceftaroline and ceftobiprole. ROLINE, ROLE, rolin, and roll. So these was all about the classification of the cephalosporin. Now moving towards the pharmacokinetic features of these drugs is we said they are available in oral and parenteral route, mostly used in a parenteral, meaning you can use it intravenously or intramuscularly. The other important thing about their excretion is all of these are excreted through kidney through tabular excretion except the two drugs. Exceptions are always present, so you have to keep in mind for the MCQ purposes as well as like ceftizone and cefoperazone. They are belonging from the third generation. They are excreted through the biliary duct. All the other drugs are excreted through the urine. I'm again going to repeat all the drugs that we were earlier said named in the different classification. They are excreted through the kidney through tabular secretion, meaning through urine, except ceftriaxone and cefoperazone. They are the two drugs. They are belonging from third generation. They are excreted by bile, mean by biliary tract. Nephrotoxicity of these drugs is increased with the loop diuretics. We have studied the loop diuretics in the chapter of drugs used in kidney. Loop diuretics, furosemide and bumetanide, they are nephrotoxic. Similarly, these are nephrotoxic also. If they are both of them are combined, a person is using loop diuretics as well as cephalosporin, the effect of nephrotoxicity would be enhanced. And the other very important thing is first and second generation does not cross the blood-brain barrier, mean they does not cross the blood-brain barrier, so they does not affect the infections that are going to occur in the meninges. Third, fourth, and fifth generation can cross the blood-brain barrier. First and second cannot cross the blood-brain barrier. We will again discuss them in their individual features. First and second drugs can't cross the blood-brain barrier except a drug that belongs from second generation is furoxime. It can cross the blood-brain barrier. All the other drugs can't cross the blood-brain barrier that belongs from first generation and second generation. Even the meninges are inflamed, they can't cross the blood-brain barrier. Now what we have to discuss is we will discuss about every generation, first generation, second, third, fourth, and fifth generation in detail. So let's take a break and revise the things we said. We have divided the cephalosporin in 5th generation. We said they have a different pharmacokinetic profile. They can be used orally, and most of them can be used parenterally. And then we said all the drugs can cross the blood-brain barrier. So all the drugs except 1st and 2nd generation can't cross the blood-brain barrier. And then the important thing is all the drugs can be excreted through the kidney except 2 drugs that are excreted through the body. Now we are going to discuss every generation in a detail. Coming towards the 1st generation, and the difference between all the generation is basically the difference between the spectrum of activity in which bacteria they are going to act. And the important thing about 1st generation is they are very effective only for gram-positive bacteria. The first and important feature of 1st generation is they are very effective against gram-positive bacteria. And gram-positive bacteria are Staphylococcus and Streptococcus. So the first thing is 1st generation. अब इसके साथ नाम याद करेंगे gram-positive bacteria. They are Staphylococcus, Streptococcus. They are not effective against penicillin-resistant strains. They are minimal effective against gram-negative bacteria. They are minimal effective against Enterococcus and methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus and gram-negative hosts. And the main tendency to do is their affinity with the gram-positive bacteria, and they are less active for gram-negative bacteria. So he says cephalothene, cefazolin, cefalexin, cefadroxil are 1st-generation drugs that are effective against gram-positive organisms. Coming towards the cephalothene as resistant to penicillin. Now we are going to discuss individual characteristics. Like हमने generally कहा 1st-generation is good for gram-positive bacteria. Okay, keep it in mind 1st-generation is only for gram-positive. अब हम एक drug की कुछ individual features या individual characteristics कहेंगे कौन सी. Like coming towards the cephalothene, it's resistant to penicillin. Means it can tolerate the enzyme penicillinase. It can't open when penicillinase enzyme will act on it, and so it can be used in staphylococcus infections. While penicillin was not able to deal with these staphylococcus infections because penicillin was going to open up the ring when the enzyme penicillinase act on them. Coming towards the cefazolin is very good for surgical prophylaxis when you have to move towards the surgery for good results. You avoid to have avoid the interactions of infections. You surgically पहले से prophylactically patient को cefazolin शुरू करा देते हैं so that they can order कि कोई बैक्टीरिया कोई ग्राम पॉजिटिव इन्फेक्शन जो हॉस्पिटल में बहुत कॉमन होती है सर्जरी के दौरान जहाँ भी आप कट या सर्जिकल इंसिजन करें तो वहाँ इन्वेड ना करें. So prophylactically the doctor starts cefalozin to the patient. And the cefalozin, why cefalozin only? Because cefalozin has good penetrability, it's a long half-life, so it is preferred among all other 1st-generation drugs. The next is cefalexin. Cefalexin is very effective in minor infections like abscess and cellulitis. Cellulitis is in skin infections, so it's very good and preferably effective and potent in minor infections only. Then we are going to say something about 2nd-generation. Let me tell you, they are very active against gram-negative organism. The 1st-generation is active against gram-positive, and this generation is effective against gram-negative bacillus. It shows slight activeness against gram-positive. ये ज़्यादातर gram-negative के लिए effectiveness show करती है and less effectiveness for gram-positive bacteria as compared to 1st-generation. So what are the gram-negative bacteria to which 2nd-generation drugs are effective? They are effective against Haemophilus influenza, Escherichia coli, Proteus, Klebsiella, Bacteroides, Moraxella catarrhalis. Bacteroides, all the drugs of 2nd-generation does not respond towards bacteroides except cefotitan, and cefametazole are only effective against bacteroides. 2nd-generation की तमाम drugs इसको respond नहीं करती, सिर्फ ये 1, 2, 3 cefotitan and cefatatan and cefametazole only effective against bacteroides. All the others are effective against all the other organisms. So he said 2nd-generation is effective for gram-negative bacteria. It is less effective for gram-positive bacteria. So we have listed the gram-positive organisms and gram-negative organisms, and we said they are effective against these bacteria. So the sinus, ear infections, respiratory tract infections by Haemophilus influenza are best treated with the 2nd-generation drugs. So all those like infections that are due to the bacteria that were enlisted in the previous slide are effectively treated with the second generation drug. Then the next feature is cefuroxime. I said, and the first pharmacokinetic profile, the first and second generation ब्लड ब्रेन बैरियर को क्रॉस नहीं कर सकती, इवन कि मेनिंजिस इन्फ्लेम्ड हो तब भी नहीं क्रॉस कर सकती. सिर्फ सेकंड जनरेशन की एक ड्रग थी जिसका नाम था सिफिरोक्साइन, वो इसको क्रॉस कर सकती थी मेनिंजिस को. इसके अलावा फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड जनरेशन इज नॉट एबल टू क्रॉस द ब्लड ब्रेन बैरियर. And this is the important thing about cefuroxime, that it attains good cerebrospinal fluid concentration. So this can be treated in meningitis. Meningitis is inflammation of meninges, and cefuroxime is also resistant to beta-lactamases. Coming towards the third generation, it's effective against gram-positive cocci, gram-negative cocci, gram-negative bacilli, and the role. You can see first generation was for positive, the second generation for negative, and third generation is like good for both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria, even about anaerobes. So it is even more broader as compared to first and second generation. First was also narrow spectrum, second generation was also narrow spectrum. As we are moving forward, our generations are being more broader in activity. So third generation is effective against gram-positive cocci, like staphylococcus and streptococcus. It's effective against gram-negative cocci, like gonococci. So it's effective in gonorrhea after penicillins. As effective as gram-negative bacilli, like Enterobacteriaceae, Serratia, Pseudomonas. As effective against anaerobes, like bacteroides. So the activity of third generation is against gram-positive is like first generation. So it is dealing gram-positive and gram-negative. The activity of third generation against bacteroides is less than cefoxitam. I said in second generation में हमने बात की थी कि सब influenza, Escherichia coli, Klebsiella, सब बैक्टीरियोइड्स, एनारोब, सब के लिए सेकंड जनरेशन बड़ी अच्छी है. लेकिन कुछ थी जो सिर्फ बैक्टीरियोइड्स को डील करती थी. उन सब में सबसे अच्छी जो काम करती है ना सेफिक्सिटीम करती हैं. एंड दिस लेकिन और ये इतनी अच्छी है कि थर्ड जनरेशन भी उसके अगेंस्ट उतना अच्छा काम नहीं करती जितना सेकंड जनरेशन की ड्रग्स करती है इसके लिए. The other important features of third generation is they have good activity against gram-negative, resistant to other beta-lactamase. They may cross the blood-brain barrier. तमाम से third generation की drugs, there was a long list of third, सारी cross कर लेती except cefoperazone and cefixime. I know in this lecture there are exceptions are so much कि ये बाइल के थ्रू जाती हैं, ऑल अदर्स टू गो थ्रू किडनी. ये सेकंड जनरेशन की सिर्फ ये क्लास, ये ड्रग है जो ब्लड ब्रेन बैरियर को क्रॉस करती है. थर्ड जनरेशन की तरफ आए तो कहा सब ड्रग्स ब्लड ब्रेन बैरियर क्रॉस करती है, सिर्फ ये दो नहीं करती. सो ये आपने एमसीक्यू के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स हैं या हमें याद करनी कि क्या क्या ऐसे डिफरेंट सी बात है कि हम इस पेशेंट को नहीं दे सकते. वी हैव नो ऑप्शन टू गिव दिस पेशेंट cefoperazone and cefixime, even they have meningitis, because they does not cross the blood-brain barrier. Their chemistry and their structure is too wide that it can't cross the blood-brain barrier. Coming towards the other important thing about third generation is Enterobacter strains that produces extended beta-lactamases are also effectively treated with third generation drugs. So actively Pseudomonas, हमने पिछले स्लाइड्स में कहा कि थर्ड जनरेशन इज आल्सो इफेक्टिव अगेंस्ट Pseudomonas. So ceftazidime and ceftolozane and cefoperazone, they are effective against Pseudomonas infections. And ceftriaxone has a long half-life, so it can be given once daily. It is excreted through the bile. स्टार्ट में हमने कहा था दो ड्रग्स ऐसी हैं, एक थी ceftriaxone and cefepime. They are only excreted through the bile. So अगर किसी पेशेंट को किडनी फेलियर हो गया, आप उसको थर्ड जनरेशन आप उसको सेफ्लोस्पोरिन देना चाहते हैं, लेकिन उसको किडनी फेलियर है. अगर किसी पेशेंट की किडनी फेल हो और वो यूरिन उसका ऑब्वियसली प्रॉपर फंक्शनिंग नहीं कर रहा, आप उसको ऐसी ड्रग्स नहीं देंगे जो किडनी के थ्रू जाती हो. तब हम ऐसी ड्रग देंगे जैसे कि अभी हमारे पास ऑप्शन है सेफ्ट्रीजोन, ताकि उसकी किडनी फेल है, उसको सेफ्लोस्पोरिन चाहिए तो आप उसको ये दे दो और इस ड्रग ने बाइल के थ्रू जाना है और उसकी नॉर्मल फंक्शनिंग को ये लाइक डिस्टर्बेंस भी नहीं करेगी, बॉडी से एक्सक्रीट आउट भी हो जाएगी जब इसने जाना. सो यू हैव अ ऑप्शन इन द पेशेंट जिनकी किडनी फेल है और वो ड्रग को बाहर नहीं भेज सकते, आप उसमें सेफ्ट्रीजोन दे दें ताकि वो बाइल के थ्रू बाहर आए. Then there is a long list of uses of third generation drugs. Third generation like ceftriaxone, जिसके भी हम बात कर रहे थे कि जो बाइल के थ्रू जाता है, it's the drug of choice in gonorrhea, in salmonellosis, in typhoid mean, in Escherichia coli, Proteus, Serratia, Haemophilus, bacterial meningitis. Ceftriaxone, if combined with cefotaxime, they are currently the most effective agents that are going to deal the penicillin-resistant pneumococci. In our acute otitis media, it's infection of the ear. A single dose of ceftriaxone is usually effective as 10 days treatment of amoxicillin. अब penicillin के 10 days के course से एक ceftriaxone का injection is very effective in order to deal the infection of the ear. Similarly, ceftriaxone plus aminoglycosides, we will study aminoglycosides in the next coming lecture. They are considered the treatment of choice in Pseudomonas. Pseudomonas को completely eradicate करने के लिए हम aminoglycoside और ceftriaxone को combine करके use करते हैं. So we said first generation are those that are active against gram-positive. Second generation are active against gram-negative. Third generation are active against gram-negative positive bacteria, the anaerobes. Now coming towards the fourth generation, they said it is similar to third generation. ये उसकी जैसी है, but इसकी एक exception है साथ में, are effective against gram-resistant organism that are resistant to beta. वो वाले bacteria जो resistance show कर रहे थे, ये उनको भी डील करती है. जो बाकी तीनों को रेजिस्टेंस शो कर रहे थे वो इस वाली जनरेशन से डील हो जाते हैं, वो ये उससे ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग है. सो नॉट इफेक्टिव अगेंस्ट एनारोब्स. ये एनारोब्स के लिए इफेक्टिव नहीं, लेकिन वो बैक्टीरिया जो पेनिसिलिनेज एंजाइम रिलीज कर रहे थे और बाकी तीनों जनरेशन को रेजिस्टेंस शो कर रही है, उनको भी डील कर लेती है. Cefepime attains very good CSF levels, so it is used in serious gram-negative infections including septicemia, nosocomial infections, and immunocompromised infections. Next is fourth generation. Its important feature is cefepime is more resistant to beta-lactamases produced by gram-negative organism as compared to third generation. So we can use in hemophilia, in Neisseria, in Enterobacterus, and some penicillin-resistant pneumococci. So coming towards the summary of the first, second, and third and fourth generation, we said first generation is effective against gram-positive. I'm again and again repeating these points that like at least at the end of the lecture you must even remember the first generation is good for gram-positive, second generation is good for gram-negative, third generation is good for gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria, fourth generation is same like third generation for gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria, but it is more resistant to beta-lactamases. Fine. So this is the summary of all the generation. Fifth generation actually is recently being introduced, so there is no much research data about fifth generation drug. So I have not added them right now in the just slides for which like purpose they are being used. Coming towards the adverse effects, the very common adverse effect of these cephalosporin is hypersensitive reaction, means skin rashes. The body responds towards this drug and show resistance or like hypersensitivity towards the drug. So almost complete cross reactivity with other cephalosporins. अगर एक cephalosporin से किसी को reactivity हो रही ना, तो इसका मतलब है कि जितने भी member हैं cephalosporins के सारे ही सबको ही वो reaction show करेगी. Even जो patients cephalosporin को reactivity show कर रहे थे, वो almost there is a possibility कि 5 to 10% penicillins को भी reactivity show करते हैं. उससे भी उनकी body में skin rashes या allergic reactions हो जाते हैं. The other important adverse effect of cephalosporin is bleeding. Why bleeding? Because few of the drugs that contain methyl-thiotetrazole in their structures like safamendol, cefoperazone, moxalactam, and cefotetan, they have a ring in their structure named as methyl-thiotetrazole, and due to which they causes hypoproteinemia, mean hypoprothrombin, less prothrombin level in the blood, leading to bleeding, जिसकी वजह से body में coagulation की capability कम हो जाती है, so it may lead towards the bleeding. And disulfiram like reactions with alcohol. Disulfiram is a compound, और जो patients alcohol use करते हैं disulfiram को भी use करते हैं, तो उनको जो body पे skin rash और body पे जो appearance हो जाती है, इसी तरह cephalosporin से भी disulfiram like reaction होता है. The third adverse effect of cephalosporin is they decreases the WBC level. Neutropenia due to the cephazidime. Cephazidime means body के अंदर white blood cells का level low करते हैं, उसकी restriction इससे ज़्यादा हो जाती है, इसलिए body में neutropenia हो जाता है, mean less WBC level. The next adverse effect is nephrotoxicity. Ceftriaxone and cefoperazone, they causes nephrotoxicity, and they usually we said कि ये drugs हम orally भी देते हैं, parenterally भी देते हैं, and pain may be at the site of injection, जहाँ पे आप injection apply करें और usually patient को वहाँ पे थोड़ी देर pain रहती है. So I'm going to revise the adverse effect. They causes hypersensitivity, they causes bleeding, and they causes low WBC level, mean neutropenia. They causes nephrotoxicity, and they causes pain at the site of injection. And at the end, we are going to summarize the uses of all these generations. Like we said, first, second, third, and fourth generation, they are effective in this, and this. Now, this is a summary of all these drugs and which certain infection they are going to use. Like gram-negative infection, urinary, respiratory, soft tissue infections are good treated that are due to the gram-negative organisms. They may respond to cephalosporins. Surgical prophylaxis, we said cefazolin is preferred. In gonorrhea is being treated with penicillin. आपने penicillin की uses में पढ़ा होगा. Gonorrhea is penicillin is a drug of choice in gonorrhea, but even ceftriaxone is even more good to be deal in case of gonorrhea. That is a drug of choice. Single dose of 250 mg is even more effective than penicillin. The next is meningitis. It is the inflammation of the meninges due to certain bacteria like Haemophilus influenza, Neisseria meningitis, and Staph pneumoniae. And third generation drugs are effective against meningitis. And two drugs that were not able to cross amongst third generation, all the other can cross as third generation drugs. And then is mixed anaerobic and aerobic infections. They are also treated with the third generation drugs. Typhoid after alternative to ciprofloxacin. And ciprofloxacin, we have studied ciprofloxacin is a drug of choice in typhoid, but due to some like contraindication, if you can't use ciprofloxacin in the patient who is having typhoid, you have another option that you can use cephalosporin. दोनों में सिप्रोफ्लॉक्सासिन ही अच्छी है, लेकिन हमने कहा कुछ कॉन्ट्राइंडिकेशन होता है. फीमेल अगर प्रेग्नेंट है आप उसको सिप्रोफ्लॉक्सासिन नहीं दे सकते, वो लैक्टेटिंग वुमेन है आप उसको नहीं दे सकते. देन यू हैव अल्टरनेटिव कि आप उसमें सेफलोस्पोरिन दे सकते हैं. दे आर मोर लाइक सेफर एज कंपेयर टू लाइक फ्लोरोक्विनाजोल. The last use of cephalosporin is nosocomial infection. Third generation are also like good for nosocomial infection. Nosocomial means hospital acquired infection. Third generation are also effective against hospital acquired infections. This was all about the lecture, but I again revise the key points of this lecture that our first generation is effective for gram-positive bacteria, second generation is effective for gram-negative bacteria, and third generation is effective from all the gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria, anaerobes and enterobacterial strains. Fourth generation is even more stronger than say third generation. It's similar to third generation but more stronger. It's effective even against beta lactamases enzymes. So this was all about the activity and the active antibacterial spectrum of these generations. And we also said they can be orally, they can be used parentally, and then other important few of the drugs all of the drugs can cross the excreted through the urine except two drugs. First and second generation can't cross the blood-brain barrier except cefoxitin. So this was all about this lecture. If anybody has any question, I'm glad to answer all these questions. Kindly अपने क्वेश्चन साथ साथ लिखते जाया करें. So कोई चीज़ नहीं समझ लगी होती है एंड पे मुझसे पूछ लिया करें. जी, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
So is anything that is not clear about this lecture?
Ma'am?
Ma'am.
जी.
Ma'am?
जी, Ivan Lavandri ji, Miss, your name is? I'm listening, you can say.
Ma'am, Maria.
जी, Maria.
Ma'am? मैम हम
जी, I'm
जनरेशन को
listening.
क्लासिफिकेशन कह सकते हैं या नहीं? मैम
बिल्कुल
हम
कह सकते हैं जी,
जनरेशन को
classification
क्लासिफिकेशन कह सकते हैं या नहीं?
this is the classification of cephalosporin. बस इस
Ma'am?
क्लासिफिकेशन में जो कैटेगरी है जी, बिल्कुल मैं कह रही हूँ इसको कह सकते हैं. ये क्लासिफिकेशन ही है. इस
मैम हम
क्लासिफिकेशन में हमने
जनरेशन को
कैटेगरीज
क्लासिफिकेशन कह सकते हैं या नहीं?
मारिया, मैं कह रही हूँ बेटा कह सकते हैं आप इसको क्लासिफिकेशन. अब बिल्कुल ये क्लासिफिकेशन ही है. इस दफा हमने क्लासिफिकेशन में उसको कैटेगरी किया हुआ फर्स्ट जनरेशन, सेकंड जनरेशन, थर्ड, फोर्थ एंड फिफ्थ. हमने इसकी सब टाइप्स ऐसे बना दिए. और पहले हमारे पास फर्स्ट जनरेशन थी, फिर हमारे पास सेकंड आई, थर्ड आई. ये हमारी क्लासिफिकेशन ही है. क्लासिफिकेशन इज ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ एंटीबैक्टीरियल स्पेक्ट्रम. मारिया, कैन यू लिसन मी? मारिया.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
जी, Zubair. Okay, okay. This is classification. Ji Zubair, you were also asking something?
Ma'am, as a
Okay,
third
ma'am.
generation,
Thank you.
ma'am, as a third generation is useful in meningitis, but cefixime does not cross the blood-brain barrier. Can we still give the cefixime to the patient of meningitis?
No, obviously we can't use. If it can't cross the blood-brain barrier, so we can't use. This is exception. I said all the drugs can cross except these because they are not highly lipid soluble. We said only those drugs which are highly lipid soluble can cross the blood-brain barrier. We were studying the first chapter that there are certain characteristics for a drug to cross the blood-brain barrier. By nature, these two drugs, cefoperazine and cefixime, they have no lipid solubility. They are larger in size, so they can't cross the blood-brain barrier. So we can't use in the patient of meningitis. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Is anybody else have any question? Hello, are you with me? May I ask something from you, doctor?
Yes.
So who will tell me first generation is kindly one by one and unmute your mic that first generation is effective against which type of bacteria?
Gram positive.
Gram positive bacteria. Like, can you give any example of gram positive bacteria? Can you give an example? Anybody else that can give an example of gram
Streptococcus,
positive bacteria?
streptococci,
Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus. And my second question is, third generation are good for which type of bacteria? Kindly please one by one. May I name any student from your list? Ji Abdul Hasib, can you tell me? Abdul Hasib,
Yes, ma'am.
can you tell me third generation drugs are good for which type of bacteria?
Ma'am, actually, they are broad spectrum. They can be used for both gram positive and negative.
Exactly. They have broad spectrum, so they can be used for gram positive and gram negative bacteria. And Abdul Ghani, would you like to tell me, Abdul Ghani, second generation drugs are good for? Abdul Ghani, kindly Aksa mute your mic, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Mute your mic, please. Okay, Ji, listen, Amna Khan, can you tell me the answer, please? Second generation drugs are good for? Amna Khan. I think Amna is not with us. She can't listen us. Anybody else that can voluntarily tell me second generation are good for?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm
Second
gram
generation is good
negative.
for gram negative, but is also effective
Ma'am.
in gram
Gram
positive.
negative.
But
I
also,
also received an answer from Avas that he said they are effective from gram negative bacteria. Okay, Avas, thank you. And any other, I can also want to question, can first generation can cross the blood-brain barrier? Ji Mariam Jamshed, can first generation can cross the blood-brain barrier?
No, ma'am. It can't cross.
And second generation can cross? Second generation can
No,
cross?
no. First and second both can't
There is
cross
an
the blood-brain
exception.
barrier.
They both can't cross the blood-brain barrier. There is an exception, that is cefixime. Cefixime can cross the blood-brain barrier, right? Okay,
Yes.
I think, is anybody else have any question, please? Misbah Muhammad Hassan, any question? Okay, fine. I think I should wind up today's session. And inshallah, in the next class, we will revise this lecture and I'll also take an oral test from you people. Then I will move towards the next lecture. And in next lecture, we will study aminoglycosides and macrolides, that is also from the chapter of chemotherapy. Okay. Thank you, Ji. Allah Hafiz. I'm taking a pause, then
okay.
I'll take the lecture. Okay. Allah Hafiz, Ji. Stay blessed.